Really cool Saturday last game to see our crowd. The crowd was just fabulous. The tailgating was spectacular. The crowd's interest in the outcome of the game may have waned in the second half. People had a lot more fun outside tailgating, maybe than a lot of other people would have liked to, but a great effort by our crowd, especially in the second quarter. We caused it a couple of mistakes and miscues by our opponent, and that was neat to see. And that's the largest crowd we've played in front of here, and hopefully there's more on the way.
So you mentioned on the post-game ISU radio show the unavailability. What's it look like this week?
Probably the same. I won't know and won't have any announcement in terms of who plays what personnel-wise until Saturday, until we go out for kickoff. Just have to make sure I safeguard every opportunity we have, because I'm not bound to have to divulge any information. So I'll just keep it as close to the vest as possible, and we'll see what happens. We've had a lot of guys that are getting treatment, a lot of guys who had looked like huge debilitating injuries. Maybe the injuries have not been as rugged as we thought on Saturday. And there will be some guys who will obviously return to the field this year that maybe on Saturday it looked like there were season-ending injuries. So more positive on the injury front than maybe we looked at Saturday afternoon in here. But the information about who's going to be available or not will not come until we roll out for kickoff.
What kind of advantage do you think that can have to try and keep it under?
Two ways. Number one, a lot of coaches in the college level use it just to safeguard the opportunities that new guys are getting. And second of all, tactically, it would be an advantage to us to know who was going to play for Sac State in certain areas and who was not. So it's we don't have to divulge anything since there's no betting line in college football. And we're not the NFL, so we just safeguard our opportunities.
Mike, there's a lot of parallels between ISU and Sacramento State. Both had good seasons last year. Both were hoping to continue that this year. Both have had injuries. But the differentiation point, I guess, is Sacramento State is so young. So many freshmen and sophomores on that team. What have you seen this week from them? Because they've really struggled offensively.
Well, they run the ball very well. Robinson's an outstanding run back, and he, a lot like Xavier, he dives hard. And I like his pad level, and I like the way he runs. They've got an outstanding wide receiver. They're just having a hard time getting the ball to him. Hopefully they won't get on track at quarterback this week. Now, they've struggled quite a bit at quarterback. And if you come all the way back to quarterbacking, I would say on Saturday was probably the disappointing part of us Saturday was how we played at quarterback. I mean, we think we're obviously coming out of North Dakota, we're thinking our quarterback situation is pretty stable, but Michael did not play well. He did not play outstanding, and he did not play well early, and all of a sudden he started holding the ball, and when you hold the ball, bad things happen, and he paid a price for that by getting severely injured in the ballgame. So quarterbacking is just a measure of how fast you can take the ball and spin it to the receiver before the defense collapses on the receiver or on you as a quarterback. And when your brain slows down and you have to confirm the throw, that's when bad things happen. And I see Sacramento State's quarterbacks trying to confirm the throw before they throw it, and that is not good for anybody. And that's the same thing that happens to us. We're spending too much time at quarterback trying to confirm the throw.
Mike, is that on the quarterback, or is that what the defense is doing?
I think it's an organizational issue from the head coach to the quarterback. You have to have a system that teaches your quarterback to take care of himself by throwing the ball to a receiver long before he's open. This is not catching the backyard with your younger sister. It's throwing the football to a receiver as he's getting open, before he's open, so that when the receiver's in a position to catch the ball's on target. And to us, we're immature, and it's the best word I can use to say it. A quarterback can throw a great spiral, and he can do a lot of things right, but you're immature as a quarterback when you have to confirm the throw. And right now, we're not as mature a quarterback as I want us to be. It's something that Justin became very adept at last year, throwing the ball well before the receiver got to his final break. And that meant that the receiver came out of his final break and his hands in position to catch the ball, or bounced off his face mask. And good quarterbacks, not good throwers, but good quarterbacks throw the ball well before the final break.
If Gar has to play, how ready do you think he is for that?
He's, he's struggling. None of our quarterbacks are where we want him to be. None of them, from top to bottom. None of them are where we want them to be. In terms of their speed, their brain speed. They're just not. We can play catch. We're good at playing catch, but we're not good at playing quarterback yet.
You thought by about October you would, or where are you at compared to where you thought you would be?
Well, last week at this time, I would have said we're on target. We're on speed. And then after last Saturday's game, we regressed. So it's just a matter. It's something you got to keep coaching and keep working and be mindful of, because it evaporates fast. And when it evaporates from and your quarterback's unproven, boy, you can get yourself in a big bind, because then all of a sudden he loses his confidence in whether the play works or not, and then he holds the ball another half beat, and it's just bad. In our offense, the quarterback has to be able to be way ahead of the play. It takes a while to get there, and Michael, we felt, is getting there. He had a setback last week. When he gets back on the field, hopefully he'll have realized how tenuous it is and how pointed you have to stay once you achieve a certain level of being able to stay ahead of the play. It's just a fine line. And I wouldn't say that Jordan West had an exceptional game last week. He threw the ball quickly in the short pass, but he threw 6 passes into double coverage. The double coverage wasn't very good, and the guy who was catching the ball was really, really good. In fact, the display by Cooper Kupp last week was that's one of the best performances I've seen. We had him double covered on 5 catches, 5 times. And the most important catch that he made was the catch just before halftime, which leads us to another question. What the heck were they doing with the ball with under a minute to go in the second quarter? That's all on Mike Kramer. What the heck am I doing with 2 minutes to go in the half, throwing the ball up the field and putting us in a position where they could get a sack fumble? So we made a huge mistake by not staying on top of the ball on 3rd down and 11. But the biggest mistake was by our head coach in letting the offense try to go down the field with 2 minutes to go in the half with a 24-21 lead. My God, that was a bad mistake. Shoot.
You were too aggressive then?
Yes. Reckless. Not aggressive. Reckless. There's a difference. And that's the fine line. Good coaches are aggressive. Guys who get beat are reckless. We got beat. And it was a bad decision. And I've done that several times here at Idaho State. Because we're such a wide open offense, sometimes I will throw the ball. I'll authorize us to throw the ball when I should be sitting on it. They had 3 timeouts left. I didn't want to have to punt the ball to Cooper Kupp, which proved prophetic in the second half. But I've still got to take the chances are that we would punt the ball maybe out of bounds or away from him enough to where the punt return wouldn't be a bigger issue than the possibility of a sack fumble, which is what occurred. And then after getting 2 consecutive negative plays, our veteran safety got run by down the middle in a 3rd down and 13 situation. Should never have happened. That was a huge mistake, maybe the biggest mistake we made as a player, but by far it was dwarfed by my mistake as a head coach and thinking that we could try to get something going with 2 minutes to go in the half. Get to halftime. They got a 3-point lead over the 3-point Utrilla, number 8 team in the nation by only 3 points. Let it alone.
When do you start regretting that decision?
Oh, we're making it as it goes. As it goes right then and there, as it's going right then and there. And we said be safe with the ball. On the 1st down, he threw a nice pass on the sideline to Hagan Graves, and the next pass was a real safe pass to the tight end over the middle, brought up 3rd down, and then we tried to throw one of our favorite passes, which is the K-Dub over the middle, and literally K-Dub fell down. He literally fell down. And Michael held the ball, and our sophomore right tackle got run by a guy who just came off the bench, and it was a strip fumble, and all of a sudden Eastern was in business. But then it followed up with a loss, a run for a loss, a sack. Now we're in great shape. 3rd down and 13, going to hold them to a field goal attempt, which is awesome. We get in a prevent coverage, and a safety who's been a 3-year starter gets run by. So in the end, who authorizes all of that? Right here. That's not good being a good head coach. It's not. And I don't admit it, I say it in consternation about how we have to run our program. My gosh, that was not good.
Defensively, Sacramento State, what are they good at, and what are they, and maybe when they're not playing as well as they'd like, what are some
They
struggles?
challenge real well at corner. And they've got an outstanding inside linebacker who last year got kicked out of the game for targeting in the opening series, which left a big hole in their defense. Here, it really kind of was the impetus by which we were able to roll up and down the field. And when Sankey had to sit down, he's one of the best players in the conference. He's got a thumb injury going on right now, or a hand injury right now that is making him not as effective. But he's a big, ferocious, run-around, 250-pound linebacker who's had a nice career at Sacramento State. So they challenge you at corner, and Sankey's a force on the field. He leads them, I think, in tackles for loss, and quarterback sacks, and hurries. And he's a linebacker, which means we got to know where he's at on all the blitzes.
I was reading this thing, they've against, I think, Southern Utah, for example, they had a number of tackles for loss, and so they had good moments, but they give up big plays. Is that the safety position that you refer to?
They put their corners on islands, and their corner and how they match up against our wide receivers will be worth the price of a ticket on Saturday, because their corners, they lock them up, they don't give them much safety help, and they say, okay, go get them. And Southern Utah, with Evan Olsen, took advantage of it, threw several passes downfield, and the wide receivers were able to break away from the defensive backs and make big plays. That's a good opportunity for us, because we feel like we can throw the ball pretty well too.
I'm sorry, I apologize. Mike, so does that mean that we look for more man-to-man out of center?
Yeah, Sacramento State's
coverages?
They play zone on the inside, but they play man on the outside. So a really good matchup, man bump and run against Hagen Graves, who's shown the ability to go down the sideline, and an excellent job by obviously Madison, who continues to play at a stellar pace. The cool thing about us offensively is that we're led by a really good a couple guys on our offensive line who are really playing outstanding. But at running back, you can't play better than Xavier Finney's playing in three facets: at footwork, at pad level, and at finish. My gosh, is he playing well? Playing hard on every down. Just having an exemplary senior year. We just haven't been able to break him loose for that, where he can make the safety miss and get a long play out of it. So, but the way X is playing right now, that bodes well for us offensively.
Guller plays, it's a typical ISU offense. You don't want to help, no restrictions.
Oh yeah, whether it's he or Quinlan or Michael's able to get back on the field. No, it's same old stuff. Run pass option, throw the ball, go hyper, throw the ball down the field, make them line up, and do it again.
Are you, Quinlan? Do you want to? Further, you want to redshirt, of course. If you have to go to a third quarterback, any idea? Would you ever consider Trey Pilster?
Yes.
Just to not burn the red shirt of Quinlan.
Yes. Excellent question. Excellent answer.
So that's to be determined, of course.
To be
I'm sure you're
determined.
figuring it out as you go, but you don't.
Correct. I know what I'm doing. We know what we're doing. I'm just not going to say it. So I appreciate it, Kyle. I mean, it's what you got to do. I mean, it's a big issue. The quarterback got carted off the field. So what's the situation at quarterback? And an offense and a football program that's led by quarterback. And the answer is we got a plan. It's underway, and we'll see how it pans out.
Are you able to say what kind of injury it was?
What kind of?
Injury Michael had?
No. A, I don't want to. B, I'm not supposed to. C, I'd like to. And D, I can't.
That covers everything.
I'm telling you, guys, I really don't like playing much of a shell game. But if I don't have to, I shouldn't. And there's some things about being a head coach that I don't like. And one of them is somebody's got to freaking knock me in the back of the head and we try to run the ball, throw the ball again 2 minutes to go in the quarter. Think about it. I mean, you really can do it. Go back and look through 5 years of Mike Kramer's games and watch how in the end of the second quarter we've given the ball back to the opponent in a position to score points. I mean, you'd be just on that basis alone. What the heck are you doing? Well, part of the answer is, well, we're trying. We're trying. We don't want to get too conservative in those moments. But we go from being aggressive to being reckless. And the tipping point is it's a knife edge. It's a knife edge. If it works, great. If it doesn't, So maybe we got a little too much Brett Favre in us. We need to have a little more conservatism in us to protect. Because our defense really started to rise in the game against a very solid, offensively minded team. So some good things came out of that game that we can carry over. Just don't have to always fight the head coach, too.
Mike, it was a tough game physically without going into details. From a psychological type impact, what shape is your team in right now as of Wednesday?
Mark, I don't know. We're college boys. I think we think too much about stuff like that. We put too much credence into it. By the time we get to Saturday night, everybody will be excited and ready to play.
What's really key against Sacramento State? Like, what's going to allow you to win?
Turnovers. We threw 3 picks in the first half, and we're down by 3. Oh, down by 10 because we fumbled again. We had 4 turnovers total in the first half. Turnovers. Maintenance of the ball on offense, getting the ball on defense.
The -12 in the turnover margin. Is that like the number one key? You think that?
Yeah, I think it's been the biggest difference this year. We've been behind a lot, so we've had to take more inordinate chances, especially in those 2 monster games. We were way behind, and we were trying to make things happen and playing young at quarterback and not being perceptive enough to know what the danger point is on a play. For example, we got sacked 3 times officially Saturday, and one was a sack in which he turned it into a return to the line of scrimmage through about 9 guys. But every sack is related to one thing: the quarterback holding the ball. That means he's not seeing the play. That means if he's flying the airplane, he doesn't know if it's on the ground until he hears the wheels hit. And that's the issue. The issue is, at quarterback, we must be ahead of the play enough to where you never get sacked. When we went into this game, I think we'd given up 5 sacks, and we came out of the game only giving up 8 sacks and 250 attempts. All right, your ratio's still great, but those are huge mistakes by us. And we just cannot get sacked. And when we get sacked, unless the guy's clearly beat, it's because the quarterback holds the ball. And I just can't emphasize enough how simple this really is. If the quarterback's skilled enough to understand the nuance of the play, it's catch, set, throw. Boom. Catch, set, throw. Boom. You might get knocked down every single time, but the ball is spit. So it's an elementary part of the game, and it's given us the realization that what we're telling our quarterbacks has got to be translated onto the field. And that comes from me to our quarterback coach to our quarterbacks. Period.
Is it a trust thing with the quarterback and not trusting
No,
other
it's
receiver?
a trust issue.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. I mean, it's like a little kid when you get on the teeter-totter the first time. You're like, oh. Or when you're swinging, you swing, you're going to go up. Am I going to get thrown out? To me, it's that small. It's that small of an increment. It's not trust as much as it is experience enough to know that I'm doing it right. Same thing on the teeter-totter, I guess.
Thanks.
Not you guys, thanks.